My name is Al Espinoza. I'm a fisheries biologist, a fisheries consultant with some 20 years plus of working with land management impacts on aquatic resources. We're in the Bender-Retie project area and on the Placer Creek Road. It's the main haul road out of the Bender-Retie proposed sale area. What we're looking at today is some surface erosion on a native material road. It's eroding down the road prism, generates sediment. The sediment then travels down the road and then off into the ditch, and from the ditch it heads off to a relief culvert. One of the contentions in this controversial sale area was that there wasn't going to be any sediment that was going to be produced by the project. This is going to be a main haul road. We're going to be hauling a lot of logs out over this road. It's an existing sediment source. So this whole contention that there's not going to be any sediment generated and inputted into the streams is just not going to hold true. Here we are on the main haul road on main stem Tie Creek. I want to show you some additional surface erosion on the main haul road, real erosion coming down the road and coming down with access and a short input into the main stem of Tie Creek here. You can see it coming here into access just before it hits the bridge here. This is a direct shot, direct input of granitic sediment into a system that's already overloaded with granitic sediment. The in-stream loads here in Tie Creek are very heavy. And we'll show you some shots of some deposition areas where it's built up over the years.
This is an example of heavy sediment deposits resulting from logging, road construction, and grazing in the Bender-Retie area. Sediment destroys fish habitat by covering the natural stream bed, smothering fish eggs, and filling up the places where young fish hide. The Forest Service admits that sediment levels in nearly all creeks in the project area exceed even their own minimal standards.
Here we are on Johnson Creek, Lower Johnson Creek, at a bridge crossing, stream crossing, right on a granitic road fill that the cattle are using for access water in Johnson Creek. As you can see, they've generated a considerable amount of sediment. It's a sediment source, chronic, with fresh sediment input into Johnson Creek, in a system that already has too much sediment in it. Cattle use sites like these on a sustained basis, and they'll continue to generate impacts, and we have it on both sides of the road here and both sides of the bridges.
This is a conveyor belt rubber water bar, one of the mitigation measures the Forest Service is relying upon to limit sedimentation. It has failed to control sediment. The limited mitigation efforts that I saw in the project area have not been effective. The Forest Service has the ability to implement effective mitigation. Unfortunately, the Bender-Retie EIS failed to consider an alternative that seriously addressed the sedimentation problem. In other timber sales, the Forest Service has used road resurfacing, road obliteration, revegetation, sediment suction, and elimination of grazing as effective means to reduce sediment and protect fish. For this timber sale, the Forest Service failed to even consider these mitigation measures.
Here we are on a small tributary to Bender Creek in the project area, where we have some fresh sedimentation that's come off the road, main arterial, and also off the road fill. Granitic heavy sediment has come into this system just recently. As you can see, that extends, a sediment plume that extends for about 20-25 feet here in this small tributary of Bender Creek. This is the sort of thing that impacts fish habitats. Coarse sediment will impinge on and impact spawning habitat and also rearing habitat. In this case, it's probably going to eventually end up in Bender Creek, where it'll impact the fish habitat there. This is road fill erosion, granitics, native material from the road fill that the road fill and the granitic soil type that just don't revegetate very well, and it ends up being a chronic sediment source over time. It just won't veg up and retard the sediment, so it continues to erode if you don't handle the water and sediment on the road very efficiently. If you don't maintain the roads, you don't handle the water, get the water off frequently through water bars, that sort of thing, then your road fills will tend to erode with input into your stream system. Again, the contention that there's no sedimentation from this project area going into the systems is a fallacy. Here we're on a small tributary to Johnson Creek. I'm going to show you some what we consider cumulative impacts from past management activity and also current management activity. It's an old cutting unit that did not leave a buffer strip or streamside riparian zone. You cut right through it, so there's no overhead canopy or vegetation to protect the stream banks. And also we have cattle that are in here on the transitory range that focus in on the riparian areas, and they have been stomping back the stream banks and adding sediment to the system, chewing down the vegetation that would hold the stream banks in place and give it some stability. These are existing impacts that are still chronic and are adding to the overall cumulative impacts in the Johnson Creek watershed.
My tour of the Bender-Retie project and review of the EIS leads to several conclusions about the project and its impact on fisheries. First, as documented in the EIS, the present status of fish habitat is deplorable. All streams that I viewed had excessive sedimentation. It's no wonder the Forest Service had difficulty locating cutthroat trout in the project area. Second, contrary to the Forest Service's claims, the project will cause additional sedimentation. In addition to the new roads and harvest units, hundreds of logging truck trips over poorly maintained haul roads will continue to dump sediment in fish-bearing streams. Finally, the cumulative impacts of the project from past timber harvests, grazing, and chronic sediment sources must be addressed, not only in the project area, but in the Big Hole River as well. All of the streams I viewed are important parts of maintaining a viable fishery in the Big Hole drainage. The interrelated impacts of logging, grazing, and road construction from Forest Service activities and adjacent private lands must be analyzed before meaningful action can be taken to protect native fisheries.